Jumbo. Asante. Welcome back to Artsworld. As Kenyans, we all know about the problem of homelessness. Last year, so many people had to flee their homes after the post-election violence. In our next story, we meet a man in Chicago who actually chose to become homeless.
I get up, have my coffee, clear my head, smoke a few cigarettes, go to a place to eat. There's nothing else to do. Then I go back to Starbucks and start drawing. Drawing keeps my sanity, keeps me from going to fight somebody or rob a liquor store or do anything outside of normal life. When I draw, I forget about everything else that's in the world. It's like what's on my mind on the paper. God, I hope this bus ain't crowded. There's a spot where I used to work at. Right down, no, that's not it. It was on the other block, I'm sorry. On Walton. Waking up in Newbury Park after walking out on my job with only half my last paycheck, I am now homeless. Nowhere to go, only thing to turn to is my drawings for peace of mind. This is a biography through drawings of myself. Once upon a time in a life. The people nowadays says, well, why don't you just accept a regular job? And I said, well, you tell me where you can get a job. You're gonna be happy and still make your bills. The Adventures of Nick 7, XXX, Volume 2. I've drawn 1,200 pages, 3 volumes, and 8 stories out of 1,200 pages. Sometimes I just like writing the story. Write the title, write page by page what's going to go on. Now these are the characters. Was always my idol. So I loved the way he talked to the good-looking women or delivers his one-liners. This woman assassin is making love to the real airplane pilot. And the real airplane pilot doesn't know that he's about to get killed. To keep people in suspense. I was like Hitchcock.
As soon as we sort of looked at it, I think Anne was sitting with it in front of her on the desk, and she started to flip through the pages. And I think what you notice when you look at this work immediately is that it's fascinating. It's like the human imagination. This man has created a world in his head and spilled it onto paper.
I told her, I says, I'm a homeless person. I says, I can't afford to be running around all over the city on just a chance. I figured out to be comfortable, well, but without being extravagant, I need at least $1,000 a month. Rent costs about $600 to $700. Your food, your transportation.
I don't think we necessarily were interested in it as something to turn around and sell immediately, but something rather to think about and to observe and to see what happens next.
I I'd like to make enough, at least to go through the winter months where I could do drawing inside in peace. You know, and I don't have to worry about somebody else to wake me up. I can come and go when I want to eat. You know, and get the good amount of sleep that I want. If I can make enough money to last all year round, that's even better.
Even though dance is an everyday part of life here in Kenya, for me it never loses its magic. In South America, there's a school teacher who's creating his own magic by using the art of words.
A biblioburro is a guy who comes on a donkey. He brings books.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Cómo han pasado? Mi nombre es Luis Soriano Borges.
My name is Luis Soriano Borges. I am the person who rides along these fields with the traveling library, the bibliodonkey.
I ask him, where did you get this idea? And he says, well, out of my mind.
When I was studying, I liked to go to the library a lot. It was a sort of hiding place from the never-ending difficulties of, there is no dinner today, you've got to do your homework, go to school, go to mass.
He used to run out of the house and you could always find him in the library. He loved it. He lived in his imagination.
Un burro de noche. Un burro que rebuzna y espanta los ¿qué? Los pajaritos. Yo descubro de que
I realized we have to take books to the kids, because if they do not have a library, then we have to create one. We have to take it to them. These kids from the mountains can't come to the library, so we have to take the library to them.
He invented the donkey bookshelves. He put the books in them and he called it biblioburro, donkey library. He named them Beto and Alpha, so he wrote down Alpha, and then he wrote down Beto. What does this mean? Alphabet? The bibliodonkeys are a means of transportation the teacher uses. He brings books on two donkeys and goes around reading stories and taking books and important resources to the kids all around the countryside.
Una pobre viejecita sin nadita que comer, sino carne, dulce, torta, huevo, pan y pez. Bueno, te cuento que el criterio que tengo
according to a very clear and well thought out plan, I decide where the donkeys must go. The kids who live near the road see cars and see people go by, and they get to learn something. Speaking with people who come from somewhere else teaches you. But the kids who live far from the road, 15, 20 kilometers away, who teaches them? Nobody.
He comes and brings us books, stories and materials, because the children haven't got any, and their parents cannot buy them either.
These are kids who have gone through a tough, violent situation. They saw hanged, dead, and mutilated people. They saw their own parents terrified. They often had to hide in the river. They somehow stay mute because they believe they are still hiding.
Y si cerramos los ojos, estamos usando la imaginación, la mente. ¿Oíste? ¿Qué queremos nosotros?
What are we after? Alpha, Beto, and I. We want to cheer up the kids, to have them take a pencil in their hands and paint the world the color they want.
Spectacular. You can't imagine it. We read stories.
They now laugh. They no longer hide behind a tree as if they were a wild animal.
He brings books and we read them and we play and sometimes we paint.
This is a long-term project. We will cultivate Colombian citizens with a constructive and analytical mentality and with loads of imagination.
Y colorín colorado, esta historia se ha terminado. Abran los ojos y miren.
Great story there. And that's it for this week's edition of Artsworld. I'm Tim Jiri right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Thanks for watching. Kwaheri, baki salama, goodbye, stay well.